Yes, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Yeah, somebody asked me a very pertinent question in the comments, so don't feel uh, scared to ask me questions. Just put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer all the questions. And they asked me about inmates who considered that their crimes were not committed by themselves, but committed by a discarnate entity that overtaken their physical bodies. So I want to talk a little bit today about the possibility that seriously offending murderers and sex offenders, etc., are in fact possessed by demonic forces. As many of you will know, I am a spiritualist, and for 27 years was the feature editor of the Journal of Spiritualism, Psychic World. Indeed, you can see my website, psychicworld.net, out there. So I want to talk a little bit about inmates who believe that they are possessed. I'll start off with sex offenders because I spoke yesterday, I believe it was, about a particular sex offender on D-Wing at the Scrubs who removed his honeymoon equipment with a razor and flushed it down the lavatory. I'd spoken to him before, and he was seriously concerned about the sex offences. He said to me, "Listen, it's not me." He said, "I know that I've physically done it." He said, "But it's as if I'm being overtaken, and there's an irresistible force within me that he couldn't stop that made him conduct these rapes and what have you." And he was trying the sex offender treatment at Wormwood Scrubs, and decided that he'd do it once and for all and whip the tattle off. Yeah, so he actually did believe. He didn't describe to me exactly what he felt, but he just said it's a compulsion that comes over him. I've spoken to inmates, patients really, when I was at Strangeways on the hospital ward. One particular prisoner came to me and he was really agitated. He said, "I can hear the voices. They're telling me to do things and I don't want to do it." I said, "Well, I'm trying to sit him down and explain to him that he didn't have to do it." He said, "No," he said, "it's not me." He says, "They're telling me I have to do it, and it's as if they're forcing me to do it." I got the doctor to give him some medication, Largactil, I think it was, just a liquid form, not an injection, and that quieted him down for a day or two. But eventually, one afternoon, when I was the officer in charge of the psychiatric ward at Strangeways, he came up and said, "The voices are back, the voices," and then he ran head first at a big plate glass window, and he smashed his hands through the plate glass window and slashed all his arms. It was a real mess. I mean, if you were slightly squeamish, you wouldn't last very long as a hospital officer in a prison, I tell you. There's blood everywhere, and he ripped all his arms. Anyway, we patched him up and got him off to hospital, where they probably did a better job than we could at Strangeways, but treated him with a degree of compassion that I attempted to, because it was obvious that he was seriously psychiatrically ill. He was definitely demented. There are numerous prisoners who have over the years confided in me that they felt that they were at times taken over by what they described, as another force. So that some of the time when they were actually operating, usually during the times of their criminal behaviour, it wasn't actually them that did it. They felt that they were being used. So they were actually almost like a puppet, they were being controlled. There was one particular and quite a famous offender as well, by the name of Roy Pretty Boy Shaw. I'm sure that you will have seen videos of him on YouTube. Look him up, Roy Pretty Boy Shaw. Have a look at his eyes. Now listen, I'm very aware that when somebody is under the influence of an external discarnate entity that's come into them, you can see it in their eyes, yeah? Some people are overtaken by what I call a benevolent force or a benevolent spirit, and you can see that also. Believe me, you look, yeah, I see it many times. I go to see classical music concerts, and you look at the lead violinist. Just concentrate on the lead violinist, and when they're playing, you'll see that their eyes are not looking at this world. They're in another world, and that, I believe, is a form of control. It's as if they have a spirit that enables them to play. And there was a theory, that was very popular in the 19th century about the violinist Paganini, that people believed he was possessed by the devil, and that they called him the devil's violinist. There's a film out about it called The Devil's Violinist. I highly recommend you watch. Good film. But Paganini was a violinist, and he played in such a manner that nobody had ever heard anybody play the violin like that. And people said that he'd sold his soul to the devil to enable him to play like this. And it was the devil that was playing the music. You can look up Paganini. I mean, some of the music that he created, absolutely incredible. It's very difficult to play the music that Paganini wrote because he had extremely long hands, extremely long fingers. You look at it, and when you think about his name, Pagan in I, Paganini, yeah? It's a theory, yes. Anyway, I met one horrible sex offender, horrible individual, looked like Nosferatu, yeah, seriously. He was nicknamed by the press the Soho Vampire. And the principal, I'd had some cross words with the principal officer in charge of C Wing. And it came a Saturday afternoon, and all the inmates were going to the movies, and he called me into his office and said, go and get the handcuffs and put the handcuffs on this particular prisoner and take him to the movies this afternoon. Stay with him, handcuffed to him, bring him back, lock him up. All right. Innocently enough, he was just another inmate to me. I cuffed him up to me, and on the left hand, cuffed him up. And off we went to the movies, except the movies was a thing called Vault of Horror. In it, there is depicted a scene in which vampires take over this man, strap him up to the ceiling upside down, and put a tap into his jugular vein, and they drink his blood. Well, handcuffed to me was this maniac who'd been imprisoned for murdering prostitutes in London and drinking their blood. And there we are watching this film about vampires, and he starts to go wild, screaming and trying to grab hold of me, and then he starts gnashing his teeth. I thought, I'm going to be a victim of the bloody Soho Vampire here. Anyway, I had something with me that helped to calm him down a little bit. It's that, just apply it quickly to the nose, That stopped him in his tracks, but it took a bit of struggling to get him out of there, despite the fact that he got a big bleeding snotter. Yeah, which you've got to do now and again. I mean, I'm very reluctant to hit anybody. I have to think at least twice, unless, of course, they're trying to bite me, which that bastard was. But as I was saying, look at Roy Shaw. Look up Roy Shaw. Look at his eyes. Yeah, you can see he's disconnected. He isn't in control. And Roy Shaw spent a great deal of time in Broadmoor, I believe it was. But he had electric shock treatment. And if you remember the TV series Most Haunted, the guy on there who was supposedly possessed, everywhere he went, some discarnate spirit would possess him. Yeah, he was just taking the piss, actually, because I knew him. I was his manager for the first 2 years of his career and wrote his first book. In fact, if you don't believe me, have a look at his books on Amazon. The Psychic World of Derek Okora by Derek Okora with John G. Sutton. That would be me, by the way. Yeah, all my books out now. I'm going to put a link below, yeah, at the top of this thing. At the thing, I want to put a link. You can click on that and see my book on Amazon. It's called HMP Manchester Prison Officer. And I've got something here that I think you'll like to see. You may have seen it before. This is the, can you see that? That is the lightning conductor from the top of Strangeways Prison Tower. It was being refurbished in the year 1979, and I was the officer in charge of the security for the detail, and I went up the tower, right to the top of the tower, whilst the builders were knocking down all the old lightning conductor and repointing all the bricks. And I said to the man in charge of it, so what are you going to do with this lightning conductor? He said, it's all going in that skip down there, lad. I said, would you mind if I had it? You know, he said, do you want it? I said, I would like that, yeah, as a keepsake. So he got a big bloody lump hammer and snapped it off. And there she is, folks. You can see it. It says there. Can you see that? Strangeways, HMP Strangeways, 1868, because that's when it was built. Tower lightning conductor, prison officer John Sutton. That's on my desk. I've been offered quite a lot of money for that. I'm not selling it. That's mine from Strangeways. So I hope you've seriously enjoyed that. But yes, I do believe that some people are possessed by demonic entities. There is good evidence in the Catholic Church to indicate that priests are still dispatched to conduct exorcisms. I have conducted numerous ghost busts. Yeah, I usually use sage, which is a herb, and I burn the sage. I have a bell, and I go through the house, you know, just letting the spirits know that are there to get the hell out. I act like as if I'm on a door bouncing the buggers out. I order them out of the house, you know. Right, get out. If you're not out of this house in 2 minutes, I am going to get hold of you and strangle you, bastard. You know, words to that effect. Just let them know that I'm not messing about. And believe it or not, that's how I do ghost busts, and it works. Yeah, so yes, I do believe that some inmates are possessed, which is a terrible thing to see, because they usually injure not only other people, and if they can get hold of you, they will injure you, but they also injure themselves. I have to warn you all now. It's the song dinger, folks. I'm going to sing a song. I wrote this, and it was recorded by PJ Proby the Pervert. You can't help it, you know. I think he's possessed as well. He says he likes 10-year-old girls, and weird. I mean, he can't help it. He really honestly believes that it's okay. I've tried to tell him, you get yourself locked up. Anyway, I did my best to resurrect the career of PJ Proby, and this is one of the songs I wrote, a number of songs. This is one of the songs I wrote for him. It's called Stage of Fools. You can see it on YouTube. If you type in PJ Proby Stage of Fools, you'll hear him singing this song. And I am now going to torture it, despite the fact that I wrote it. So, forget about sitting comfortably. I am about to begin. No, seriously, here we go. Stage of Fools. Some friends tell me I'm still the same. The world keeps turning. Was I to blame? Took all the chances, broke all the rules, and then I fell on this stage of fools. I fought the fight, I couldn't win, dreamed all the dreams and dreamed again. I played my part, it broke my heart. Then I fell on this stage of fools. You know, this life, well, it's a funny thing. We can't all be winners. We can't always win. I took the risks in this world of schemes. Never a winner, but I dared to dream. My friends tell me I'm still the same. The world keeps turning. Was I to blame? Took all the chances, broke all the rules. Then I fell on this stage of fools. I fought the fight, well, I couldn't win. Dreamed all the dreams and dreamed again. I played my part, it broke my heart. Then the curtain falls on this stage of fools. This stage of fools. I wrote that for Proby because it's about him wasting his life and throwing away that massive talent he had. I believe he was one of the greatest singers of the 60s. So there we are. Pretty pity about his attitude. There we are, Tales from the Jails, and do have a look at my book. It's just been published by Sean Atwood's company, and I'll be on his channel on the 7th of November, but you can have a look at my book in the meantime. The link is below, down there, okay? We'll speak again.